YouTube, welcome back to Lizard Week, and we are on top of this strange sandy mound in the middle of the desert. We're not fighting Tomb Kings, but High Elves, and I've got my pick of the week here, the Lizardmen, and I am going up against Lothern here, or just the High Elf faction in general. They are led by Alarielle the Radiant amidst her steed, and she is supporting the Fireborn and some Dragon Princes and a Noble. This is some terribly scary anti-large capability and just very strong altogether. The charge of Dragon Princes tends to be very effective versus infantry. There's 4 White Lions, 3 Archers in the back, 3 Spearmen. My army here, I am rocking a couple of Red-Crested Skinks, a middle of Saurus Warriors, a couple of Skinks with Javelins, and over here I'm having trouble protecting this flank. I do have some anti-large, but I deployed my anti-large in 2 spots. I've got a Pop cohort with a couple of Chameleon Skinks in the back. I have some Feral Cold Ones here, and then I have 1 Cold One Spear Rider here, so I'm trying to be a little bit cautious. This is where that charge bonus here, we got a little damage done to the Dragon Princes, but we took a lot of damage. My hope here is to clean up an infantry fight quickly with Croak, move on through to the archers, similar to what I did on stream. This army is modified just a bit from the one I used on stream, but I believe that the High Elf army here is chosen much better as a general counter to the Lizardmen than what was picked against me in the stream. And that's no offense to the, I think it was Ben that I was playing against. I liked his army. It was a fun pick. But this army here is going to give me some real trouble. These Dragon Princes are good both against infantry and okay versus Lizardmen units they'll run into, especially the Fireborn because of their anti-large. And they're supported by Alarielle, who can absolutely heal the crap out of them. The White Lions are a pick that won't be great against my infantry, but they'll do okay, and you can see that right here. And with the Spearmen left, it'll make it difficult for me to get to the Archers. You can see the Archers are well protected, and I'm having trouble getting a good coordinated effort against the Cavalry, and even if I did, I'm up against some pretty big odds. With a Noble in there, along with the Fireborn, this is some very tough anti-large to take out. Without a good spear unit close by to support, we're going to get chewed up. So right now I'm just trying to throw units over here and bog this stuff down as much as possible, put them in a fight they don't like. The Pop cohort's getting a decent engagement against the Dragon Princes. They didn't get a fantastic charge, so the Dragon Princes are holding out pretty good, all things considered. I was able to use Croak to get some deliverance in a couple spots, though it didn't actually immediately rout the White Lions, which kind of shocked me. And so it's left me in a bit of a challenging position because the White Lions didn't rout as quickly as I needed them to. Go ahead and cut through the line with Gor-Rok, and I'm trying to get into his archers, but we are losing this fight. The infantry fight is not going well, and the Dragon Princes are running roughshod all over the army over here in the back and are slowly just killing and killing and killing. And with the support of Alarielle and that Noble, it is going to be difficult for me to do anything about it. I just don't have a great answer to it right now, so I'm just trying to keep them swamped with different units, keep them tied down, and cause as much damage as I can. There's another deliverance of Itza. Again, takes down quite a few High Elf units, but I was already losing that fight, and that's why I dropped it there, trying to get as many kills as I could, but only 38 kills here. This is not real effective for Croak and how much he cost. So my plan in the front line has utterly failed, and if you look back here in the back, here's the Star of Avalorn just cutting the heart right out of my cold-blooded lizards, healing this cavalry and giving them everything they need to stay in this fight for as long as they need to stay in the fight. And there's even archery support pouring down from the hill here in a beautiful display by the High Elves. And this fight is going from challenging to worse for me very quickly. But it's a fun fight. This is an interesting matchup to me, the Lizards and the High Elves. Again, this is one where I feel like either faction has a couple of things that the other one can't do quite as well as the other. Obviously, from a range standpoint, the High Elves are superior. They have good archers. They even have some armor-piercing archers in the form of Sisters of Avalorn. They have Eagle Claw bolt throwers are very good. Technically, with just like a straight-up infantry comparison, the High Elves are better. The Sword Masters of Hoeth are superior to the Temple Guard, and also the Phoenix Guard is superior to the Temple Guard. So there's a lot of hands up that the High Elves have. However, there are a lot of tools at the disposal of the Lizardmen. Saurus Warriors are very good for their cost. They can easily defeat High Elf Spearmen. You can see, though, that White Lions were a decent answer here. Definitely a decent answer. And I'm not going to give up on this fight. I'm going to fight this to the end. That's the way I like to play my battles. Even though I don't believe there's any way I can pull this back, I'm going to give it everything I got. I'm going to try and keep Croak alive. You can see I'm dropping another Deliverance of Itza here. Can I kill some of the Fireborn? Can we kill some of these Spearmen all at the same time? So see, I'm trying to keep all these units up in here. Cause as much damage as I can, and it got some damage done. We got some kills that time. So don't ever give up. You never know when you might turn one around. This one won't be it. I don't want to give you all hope for nothing. This one won't be it. But you should always fight. It's a good way to reward your opponent for a battle well fought and a battle well won, which my opponent definitely earned in this one. And so you give them a good fight, give them something enjoyable. See over here, once again, there was a bunch of spearmen in here, and there was some cavalry still hanging around. The cavalry mostly gets away, but just trying to get all my magic out here, do as much damage as lizardly possible here. We've got Croak. He died in the midst of that spell going off. Actually, I got that spell off at just the last moment, and that leaves Gor-Rok pretty much unto himself. And although he feels pretty confident that he could kill every single elf here, the leadership's just not going to allow it. He's not unbreakable. There comes another Star of Avalorn. Once again, just gutting the no hope that I had already. Nice job, Gor-Rok. Hey, this was a well-played battle by my opponent, and it got me to thinking. I had some success against a high elf player in the community stream. I may show that at some later point, but you can always go watch the video that's up from that stream. Let's analyze this, and I'll show you an army that I came up with as a substitute that might be a better overall pick for me against the high elves. Gor-Rok, Lord Croak, I still figured was a somewhat risky pick. He has a whole lot of spend, and sometimes it's hard to get that spend back out of him. Sometimes he's great, and it really worked out good for me during the stream, but it doesn't always work out good for you. Forsaken here, I could swear I've seen this name before. I'm not 100% certain. I think I've seen him before. I don't know if he's a good player, but I'm pretty sure he is by the way that he picked this army and the way that he played. If I just had to judge by it, I think he's a good player. Maybe that's just me trying to make myself feel better, but I'm pretty sure he's a good player. So I picked a new army to go up against high elves. It's a slight variant on this. Actually, it's a pretty big variant on this. What did I bring and why? Chameleon Skinks, sometimes good at helping to deal with archers. They have missile resistance. They can be a good distraction. That's why I brought them. Red-Crested Skinks, speed. Ability to get around the flank. Saurus Warriors, go down the middle, get supported by Croak, win an infantry fight. It actually didn't happen here. Look at this. Every single one of his White Lions was alive at the end of that and had pretty respectable stats. This is nuts. Every time I use White Lions, I guess I just suck because the White Lions suck. And then this happens, and I go up against White Lions, and all of a sudden they're good. I don't know. Again, I probably just played it wrong. And I can't figure out White Lions. They're one for me that I've never been able to use successfully, but every now and then I see them used, and in this case, they worked great. They worked absolutely great for him. The real key to this pick, though, is the Dragon Princes, both the Fireborn and the Standard one, and then riding them with the Noble and Alariel. Like I said, it just makes this an absolute nightmare to kill. Alariel can heal and heal and heal and heal this blob. And it makes it a very costly battle for the Lizardmen. You have to do tremendous damage, and you have to do it very quickly. If you had some magic support by something like Curse of the Midnight Wind, or Curse of Onrair, something that really nerfs this blob while it's being healed, you might be able to pull that off. But I didn't bring that, and it hurt me. And so although I had something to help deal with infantry, it just didn't work out well. So I made a different variant of this army. I think the Feral Cold one's an interesting pick, because they could be a really good help against the White Lions because they're armor piercing. So I'm not hating this pick, but 2 Cold One Spear Riders just cannot handle the cavalry and the leadership that was brought here by the High Elves in this case. Anyway, great to Forsaken. Let's go take a look at that army that I was telling you about. And then I want you all to give me an opinion on it. I'm trying to learn as I go through this. So we got outpicked there, on top of a player who was able to match me, or probably a bit better in skill from what I was noticing there. But I know for sure he could at least match me in skill. But the problem is, we were outpicked also. And so that puts you in a double bad position because we got outpicked. And that's going to happen sometimes. And when it does, try to be sporting like I was there. Fight to the end. Give them a fight. I've seen battles turn around before that you don't expect to turn around. This was an army that I built in response. I put an extra Saurus Warrior. I put an extra Cold One Spear Rider. I still went with Gor-Rok, and I wonder whether this is the right thing. But what I was aiming for here was, with these 3 Bastillodons, I can now put pressure on his archers and hurt, like, so you would charge the White Lions with the Bastillodon, put a big hit on them, follow it up with the Saurus Warriors, right? At that point, the Saurus Warriors probably start to win that fight. Then, in the cavalry fight, you keep the Chameleon Skinks near the Cold Ones, and you poison the crap out of what the Cold One Spear Riders are fighting, and then you also pile on with the Skink cohorts and just really try and pile into that fight. Maybe it won't work. It may not work, but I'm thinking about this matched up with against different High Elf builds. If the High Elves bring a lot of skirmishers, I got a lot of units to get around their flank and mess with them and charge through their front lines. Enough to try and contain that Dragon Prince blob, though I still feel like this would be kind of weak to the Dragon Prince blob like that. 3 Cold One Spear Riders still is probably not enough to bring all that down. Maybe one of these Saurus Warriors needs to be traded for a Spearman that can get out and support that fight. That might be a consideration, but again, the 3 Bastillodons here, I'm hoping to be an absolute nightmare in their back lines. Get these things through the back lines, attacking archers, keep the archers busy, while you can focus on the heal blob. And there won't always be a heal blob from the High Elves, and let's say that, for instance, you get a dragon sent against you in this fight. Well, now I've got 3 cavalry units and a couple of poison chameleon skinks to try and deal with it. What do you all think? Good? Bad? How do you like to play the Lizards against the High Elves, especially if someone takes what I thought was a pretty good pick? It's a pretty good pick. And I think one big weakness that the High Elves have to the Lizardmen is that their only armor-piercing missile unit, well, there's 2. You get the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower and you get the Sisters. What do you all think about that? Do those 2 units give them a trump card over the Lizards? Or do you all think the Lizards are still in there? I think the Lizards are pretty competitive. I could be wrong, though, because I don't really play competitive multiplayer, and I'd love to see what you all think. This was my idea. Give me some thoughts on that, too. I'll have to try it the next time I get a matchup against the High Elves, but I wanted to show this because I thought it was a good lesson learned. Outpicked, and most likely able to be outplayed by this player. Think about your pick before you go into the fight. I know I have, since I played him. I liked his army there. It was one that had me thinking about whether or not I'm considering the matchup between the High Elves and the Lizardmen properly. Anyway, HeirofCarthage signing out. I will see you all soon with some more Total War Warhammer 2 action.